What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another segment of the Issues Work podcast for our college basketball picks, hosted by yours truly, Chuck Clemens, and my brother Stephen Hurley. Steve, back with another week of college basketball. Big week last week. How'd you do last week?
I think we picked 7 games, right? Was it?
Believe so, yeah.
So I think it went 4-3. Had a good, Iowa State was a toss up, but we got that one. Really was dead wrong on Michigan. Did pretty well for the players there. I think it went like 3-1, so that was pretty
hmm
solid, but kind of got screwed over by Illinois. Didn't come out on top. And then there's one other team I'm trying to think of that I lost.
Yeah.
It'll come back to me, but I don't. It just wasn't. Well, oh, Arkansas.
hmm
Close game,
Yeah.
but not.
Not
Not.
enough. Not
Yeah,
enough. Yeah. I had a pretty solid week myself. I think overall you are 15-10 on the season of the games that we've picked. I'm 14-11. So
it's right
right there,
there,
right there. Yeah,
right
right there.
there.
So that's pretty good. But another pretty solid week of games. Let's get right into it. We have UConn versus Kansas, Tuesday, 9 p.m. at Kansas. Darren Peterson, still TBD. UConn has their players coming back. Who you have?
Yeah, so I saw UConn Illinois in person, and one thing was clear: this UConn team, when they're fully healthy, is going to be a handful.
Serious.
And I think they are getting back to fully formed. Terrace Reed and Mullins will be another few days healthier. This UConn team is for real. I'm going to go with UConn here. I think they're very good. No Peterson. It's going to be easier for UConn to stay in front of because I still think defensively they struggle to keep guys, especially guards, in front. So I think without Peterson, that can help. And I just think offensively, like they, especially with the addition of Mullins now, the shot making is going to go through the roof. I like them here. They played at Kansas a few years ago, lost, little revenge spot here. And I think Kansas is riding a little high off their 3-0 players era tournament. I think they're due for a loss here.
Yeah. I'm also going to go UConn. Definitely against Illinois, just like one of the best teams I've seen so far. I'm probably gonna put them in that tier one teams along with Purdue, and Arizona as well. Just them
Right.
being healthy or getting back to being fully healthy and Kansas losing one of their better players.
Right.
I don't know. The UConn, they just look like back to that UConn they've been past few years. So I'm gonna rock with UConn this one.
Yep.
Next we have Florida versus Duke, Tuesday, 7:30 at Duke. What's your outlook?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Duke here. I just think, Florida's really still figuring it out. I think Duke, great game against Arkansas, hard fought. They're able to win that one. Even though the front court for Florida might give Duke a little bit of an issue, I just think, Florida's a team that they're just trying to figure it out right now. Going into Cameron is not an easy thing to do, so I'll go with Duke here.
Yeah. I'm also gonna rock with Duke. I'd be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd be like, dang, like if Florida came into the Cameron after the kind of season they're having so far and get a win, that'd be like a huge boost for
Right.
them. It'll be interesting to see how Boogie and Xavier Lee can kind of pick it up versus these Duke guards. Obviously, Duke has been pretty solid so far, so this would be a tough test for Florida after coming off of a tough loss this past week. So, I think we'll rock with Duke on this one as well. Let's move on to Iowa and Michigan State, also Tuesday, 7 p.m. at Michigan State, both undefeated teams. Who you got in that one?
This is a sneaky good game here. I think not many people are familiar with Iowa yet. They had a good win against Ole Miss and beat Grand Canyon. I'm going to go Iowa here. I think they're a team that they're played a slow pace. The point guard is very good. I think they match up well here because they're a team who actually does have some continuity because a lot of their players have played together before with the coach. And I think right now, Michigan State, they've had some phenomenal wins. I think they're kind of due for a game where I think they're, going to let one get loose a little bit. I think this is just a good matchup for Iowa. They're not going against a high powered offense. If they play their kind of defense they want to, it should be a lower scoring game. And Bennett Sturts, I just think he is one of the more underrated players in the country still. And I just like them here. I think that Ole Miss one was big for me in terms of, okay, this is a serious team.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see who Michigan State puts on Penix. I mean, Jeremy Fears a little bit shorter. Bennett is like 6'4". Jeremy Fears is pretty shorter. I like Iowa's team. I love Bennett Sturts. I think I'm gonna rock with Michigan State on this one as well. I think they're also getting to that point where it's like just super sharp with me. I feel like we talked about in our episode right before this, but they kind of know how each other play. They bring a different dynamic offensively with the two bigs. If they can kind of hit a decent amount of shots from the perimeter, obviously they're a very tough team to beat. So I mean, at home, big conference game. I'm gonna rock with Michigan State on this one. Let's move on to another Tuesday game. We have UNC versus Kentucky, 9:30 at Kentucky. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, so Kentucky's had a little bit of time here since they're two, I would say. Louisville's not a bad loss. Michigan State's not a bad loss. So maybe some people expected them to, split those.
Hmm.
I would say here at home, especially Kentucky's home, right?
Hmm.
Yep. I think this is a get right game for them. I think they'll turn it around. I think, UNC's strengths in the front court, and I don't think Kentucky's front court's that great. But I do think that without Trimble for UNC right now, they're a team not very deep. Again, if they're not getting offense from the front court, it's the guards have the ability to shoot it, but again, at this higher level, I've not seen them yet in a game where it's like, okay, they've been, huge scoring factors quite yet. So I'm gonna go with Kentucky here. I just think this is a get right game for them at home.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with Kentucky on this one. Um, yeah, I think people are kind of blowing out of proportion those two losses they have, obviously versus great opponents.
Right.
And they're still a team that's kind of figuring it out. But they've had a lot of time off where in practice they can go through the film and stuff like that. UNC, obviously they're a very good team. I actually, even though they're UNC, they're actually a team I do kind of like watching a little bit.
Yep.
But going into Kentucky, um, after a great start that they had in UNC, is gonna be a little bit tough. So we'll see. I don't know if Jalen Lowe is back. We don't. Is he back or
I don't quite know. I'm not
if
sure.
if it's a shoulder? He definitely could probably play. So I mean, if he's probably available, he definitely will play.
Yep.
But, yeah, it'll be tough. I mean, I'll take it away. Hopefully, that dynamic guard that is super strong. So it'll be interesting who they put on him. But I'm gonna rock with Kentucky on this one as well. Moving on, we have on Saturday Purdue versus Iowa State. Iowa State had a great past week at the Players era. Um, Purdue probably the hottest team in the country right now. Who do you have on that one?
Yeah, so obviously Taman Lipsey, unsure if he's going to be playing for Iowa State. They're a very good team, I don't doubt that, but without their point guard on the road at Purdue, I just think it's too tall a task. I'll go Purdue here. They're playing really well. If Taman Lipsey plays, very interesting game, but I'm going to say he doesn't. And even if he does, I'd still probably go Purdue here. I think they're just a team right now that's rolling. They're in championship form already early in the year.
Yeah, yeah. And disclosure, obviously, we don't have the update injury
I
reports in
wish.
these games, like or when we put this out in terms of when the games come out and stuff like that. So our uh, our our picks are a week prior in some cases. Um, I'm gonna rock with Purdue as well. Obviously, we have Lipsy out as of right now. Their backup point guard, like you were saying in our last episode, is pretty solid. But you come into a place like Purdue, where, like you kind of said, they're already championship ready. They kind of have great wins so far. It'd be a tall task, regardless of if their point guard is playing or not. But I think I'm gonna rock with Purdue on this one, just because just I don't feel about them right now. So
Right.
great team. Next, let's go Duke, Michigan State, Saturday, 12 p.m. Game is at Michigan State. It's gonna be a pretty tough test for a Duke team.
So is this Duke's first true road game of the year? I know they played at Army, but
Yeah, like real
right,
good.
right. Again, Michigan State theoretically, again, they're going to be physical. They're going to be ready to go. First, I would say, it's a big game against Iowa they have, but this is a massive game. Duke coming to your place. I would say with a younger team for Duke right now, this is probably where I think that will be their first loss of the year. I just think Michigan State, tough environment. Those guys could be ready to go. Physically, they're going to be ready to go. I just think this is where you're going to find out for Duke, especially as a young team right now. I just think there's things they got to work on. So I'm going to go with Michigan State.
Yeah, I agree. As a Duke fan, I think offensively there's sometimes where it's just like a little stagnant. There are
Right.
times where I've seen them trying yelling at not yelling at each other, but like coaching other players to kind of tell them where to go, or in terms of plays and stuff like that. And obviously that's not something that is championship level. as of right now, I think they have the ability to get there as time goes on. But it's definitely a tough, real first test on the road versus a Michigan State team that we know is pretty high right now. So I think my heart obviously is always with Duke, but I'm trying to stand biased as I can right here. So I think we'll rock with Michigan State as well. But it'll be a good test. It'll be a good test for Duke. Let's move on to Illinois versus Tennessee. Saturday night, at Tennessee. Who you got?
Yeah, so obviously Illinois is my national championship pick, and they lost to UConn this past weekend, and not a great game from them. But I think they're a team where they had a lot of injuries. They're getting guys back. I think that they're getting healthier, getting more game reps. That's going to help them. Kind of like this matchup against Tennessee for them. Tennessee, not a great offensive team. So I think that, Illinois' concerns on the defensive side of things could won't be as big an issue. And again, I kind of like them here. I just think they're a team that, again, their losses this year, Alabama and UConn, again, not bad losses at all. But Tennessee's a team, it relies so heavily on two guys that I think Kylan Boswell can actually do a really good job on Jacoby Gillespie. And then Nate Ament as a freshman, even though he's very talented, he's someone game to game. Consistency is probably going to be an issue. So I think this could be a game where the more experienced Illinois guys, off a loss, haven't been playing their best basketball of late. I think they're going to be motivated to come out, and I like them in this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because them on the road, obviously with the game versus UConn was at Madison Square Garden, so that probably, I mean, you were there.
Pretty much a road game, if we're being
Exactly.
honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So a lot of UConn fans there. So another test on the road, but they kind of got that first one out the way. Um, one like probably one of the top complete teams in the country, like in terms of just throughout every position, stuff like that. Tennessee, obviously, they're gonna bring that physicality. They're gonna play that hunker down basketball, low scoring game. This is a tough one. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think with this one, I think we'll rock with Illinois on this one as well. Just because obviously it's be tough for Tennessee to score at a high level versus Illinois team that kind of does sit down and take pride on the defensive end. But I think offensively they're just a little bit better right now. So it will be another tough test because they're going on the road in SEC. So,
Right.
but I think just their talent throughout their first 7, 8 guys will kind of prevail. So I'm gonna go Illinois in this one as well. Our last game on the list, we have Louisville versus Indiana, who just cracked that top 25, 2 p.m. and it's at Indiana on Saturday. Who are you rocking with?
Yeah, so this is a game where I believe Louisville, they've already had a road win against Cincinnati, obviously, and they won that one. Indiana's been flying under the radar, win versus Kansas State, and they beat Marquette earlier in the year, so at least they played some Power 5 schools and beat them. It's gonna be, Indiana's doing well. That stadium, there's probably not going to be a football, game there this weekend. Or actually, excuse me, they'll be playing in the Big Ten championship. So never mind. That's incorrect. So, but
Mhm.
I still think there's going to be a lot of fans there. Indiana basketball could be back. It's a tough one because I think Louisville's the better team, but I think Indiana. It's a tough one. I'll
Just,
go. I had made a lot of case for Indiana with that, but I'll go with Louisville here. I just think,
yeah, I thought you were about to pick
yeah,
Indiana the whole
I
time.
know, I know. I just think that at least they got the road game out of the way. I trust their team more right now. Indiana's a little light on the rotation right now, not a deep team, still got some injuries. I just think Louisville, I just trust their guards. I just
Yeah,
do. Conwell, Michael, McNeely. I just trust that, those guys are going to come through game in and game out. So I'll go with Louisville.
yeah. Another tough one. Obviously, I'm 0-2 versus Louisville so far this season, so it's like I probably should pick Louisville. Uh, I don't know. They're super hot right now. There are gonna be games where they're not shooting the lights out of it, and you go into a place in Indiana, one of the most historic facilities ever. It's gonna be probably rocking
I
there.
just looked, both teams are shooting like 38% from three, which
Oh, yeah,
most years that's top 5 to 10 in the country.
literally. So I mean, another freshman point guard coming to another tough environment. I think we're rocking Indiana on this one. If Louisville does win this, I'm not betting against Louisville again. I'm not.
Yeah.
Whenever Louisville comes up, I'm gonna pick them. If they
This was
could
a
do that,
close one for
it'd be
me.
huge. I mean, that'll be a huge, huge win because I think yes, Indiana just like trying to break that top 25 ranking and stuff like that, but you go into a place like this where you know it's a story gym. It's a place that the environment can get rowdy and stuff like that. So if a freshman point guard Mike Hale can kind of lead his team to another big time road win, tip my hats off to him. So I think I'm gonna rock with Indiana on this one. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Another great week of hoops. I'm excited for it. Obviously, we're tracking our picks every time, jotting them down. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, it should be a good week of hoops. Pretty evenly spread out throughout the week, so that'll be good
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Got a few Tuesday, a few Saturdays, so it'll be definitely a lot of time for us to tap in. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we went through all the picks. Obviously, we appreciate you guys' support. Obviously, you guys can talk about your picks within these games, whether you think we're right or we're wrong and stuff like that. But we
absolutely.
appreciate you guys' support through and through. But make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll catch you guys next week.